Welcome to the Mixed Reception Podcast. I'm your host, Barrett Sigmund, and today, very special guest, a returning guest, Sean Devereux. What is up?
Hey, nothing much. How's it going, my friend?
It's going pretty good.
It's been a little bit.
It has been. You are the co-owner of the Push Comedy Theater, which is supposed to open up next month.
2 weeks, yeah.
Okay.
Fingers crossed, yeah.
Yeah, hopefully that happens. And you're also you're the Nerds of Comedy guy.
I am the Nerds of Comedy guy.
Now, what's going on with that?
We have taken a little break. We had actually recorded a bunch of episodes, and then Brad's house burnt down, and I got busy at work. But we have a bunch that are in the can that I am waiting for copyright approval. For every episode that I upload to YouTube, there's this long process of copyright appeals, because as soon as I upload it, it gets flagged for copyright. And then I have to say why it is a review and considered fair use. It's a whole big pain in my butt.
I hear YouTube is like evil. Like it makes no sense, I hear.
It really doesn't. And I've found that some movie companies like Universal, forget it. Like, they just, doesn't matter what type of argument you have, they just deny everything. And then there are others that are really easy. You just say, hey, I'm doing this review, and they're, oh, okay, no problem. Then they'll lift the restrictions. But so you actually have to petition to the movie studios to get them to release your content.
That is ridiculous. And also, well, do you think it's because if you're shitting on the movie, they don't want the bad, like?
Maybe, but honestly, I have no idea how that works, or who even has that job to like go in and decide, what. It's definitely, I would say, intern level type work, I would assume. I have no idea, but
can you give us like a sneak peek of like what's coming up?
We have some more Columbo.
Shocker.
Yeah, Brad and I are big Columbo fans. And I've just started, I'm getting the players involved, but I want people to watch some of the things that inspired my comedy and see if they have the same reaction to it that I did. Like, for instance, most people don't know this, one of the biggest influences on my comedy are the Monkees, the TV show / band from the 1960s. Well, maybe you might be. That's a lot of people know some of the music, and but no, I don't think many people have ever seen the actual TV show. And for the 1960s, it was actually kind of revolutionary, I think, with some of like the stuff that they did. So, if you want to be part of this group that watches a Monkees episode, and then
I am so down.
Yeah.
I feel like my generation, because I'm 31, I feel like we know the Monkees, but we really don't. We know Smash Mouth, which Smash Mouth covered a bunch of the Monkees songs,
exactly,
specifically for the Shrek soundtrack. Mm-hmm. So that's how we know the Monkees. But today we're gonna talk about a movie called Soylent Green. It was that. So I reached out to you. I said, "Do you want to be on the show again?" And you said, "Yeah, sure." And you gave me a couple of choices. You gave me another movie.
In the Heat of the Night.
Yeah. Real quick, what's that about? Real quick.
So that is Sidney Poitier.
Okay.
Is a detective from either like Philadelphia or New York who is visiting his mom in the deep South, Georgia or Alabama or something like that, and gets pulled into a murder investigation.
Okay.
But it's this black cop in this extremely racist town, and he gets partnered with Rod Steiger, who plays the sheriff. And it's just Sidney Poitier being a badass. They actually turned it into a TV series back in the 90s. It was like
a TV series.
It was called In the Heat of the Night, and it played around the same time as like Matlock and Diagnosis Murder. They had Carol O'Connor, who was Archie Bunker, played the cop or the sheriff, and then I'm not sure who the actor's name who played the Sidney Poitier role, but
I was about to say Carol O'Connor. That seems like right up his alley, playing a
Yeah.
racist sheriff.
And I mean, and not to give much away, but during the course of the investigation, the cop, the sheriff, starts to respect Sidney Poitier's character. But there are some very tense moments at the beginning. But it's a great movie. So,
well, that would have been timely because he just passed away.
Yeah, exactly.
But also, this is timely too because it takes place in 2022.
Yeah, which I had no idea.
Which I didn't even realize that. But I was like, holy shit, it is 2022. But it's funny because you mentioned Soylent Green, and I had literally just watched it, and I said, hell yeah, let's do that one. Honestly, like I just found out about this movie just scrolling through HBO Max. I had never even heard of it, and I read the synopsis. And it has Charlton Heston in it, and which Charlton Heston is, I think, one of the all-time great over actors.
Yeah, and not only over actors, but like in this Armageddon type movies. Like he was in Planet of the Apes. He was in Omega Man, which is
I Am Legend.
Yeah, I Am Legend. Yeah,
I haven't seen Omega Man. Is that better than the Will Smith version?
I think, well, I mean, yeah, in that kind of cheesy 70s way, which I have an affinity for those early 70s movies. So I think so. Because
the ending of the Will Smith version is cringy. Oof.
Yeah, doesn't he?
He sees I don't know. It's stupid. I forget.
It's been a while since I've seen. Oh, like
he kills himself, and then it's like I don't know. He sees this tattoo, and I don't remember exactly. It's really dumb.
Yeah,
and then he's the supposed last person on Earth, but then these people just come on by. Mm-hmm. They're like, okay, whatever. But yeah, Omega Man, Ben-Hur. Who could forget Ben-Hur?
Yeah. If you ever get a chance, Vincent Price did a version of I Am Legend back in the early 60s. And it's super cheesy B movie, but they do a lot better job of making you realize that these vampires that he's been going around killing actually, have like a society, and they're having babies and just living their lives, and some kook comes running into their houses and killing them because he thinks they're all vampires.
I'll have to check it out. Actually, this is a pretty interesting cast. I mean, we just mentioned Charlton Heston. Mm-hmm. Chuck Connors. Do you remember The Rifleman?
Yeah, Chuck Connors, The Rifleman. Yep.
My mom loves that show. And I have a big ass antenna on top of my house. Mm-hmm. And I get a channel that is dedicated solely to The Rifleman. I'm not even kidding. It's just one of those weird, obscure channels. I just pick up weird fucking random channels, and I get the Rifleman channel. And every time my mom comes over, she watches it.
My dad was a big fan of The Rifleman.
Yeah. And for anyone who doesn't know, The Rifleman, essentially, if you've seen Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, it is bounty law. Bounty law is basically parodying The Rifleman, essentially. So you got him. Also,
Edward G. Robinson.
Who?
Edward G. Robinson, who was a kind of famous actor from like the 30s and 40s. He plays
Sal.
Sal, yeah.
And
Saul.
Saul. Brock Peters, who actually played Tom Robinson in To Kill a Mockingbird. He is the police chief. And I think the guy that they murder in this movie, I want to say he was in some like Orson Welles movies. I forget his name.
Oh, Joseph Cotton. Yeah, he was in Citizen Kane.
Yeah. So very interesting cast. I guess before we really get into it, why don't you tell us what Soylent Green is about? Because I feel like this movie, it's from 1973. I feel like it was like a modest success. Reviews are mixed. I don't know. Do people talk about this movie anymore? I feel like people really don't.
I think people talk about the twist at the end, because I know the Simpsons have done parodies of it, with their Treehouse of Horrors. And I think a lot of people, or for a while, everybody would, if you said Soylent Green, they would just say, it's people. So like, I think the ending became more famous than the movie itself.
Yeah.
Because the movie itself is really weird. And
yeah, I liked it though.
I did too. Again, I had seen it a long time ago. And when you had asked, I was doing the same thing, going through HBO Max, looking for something to watch for the night. And it literally come down to between Soylent Green and In the Heat of the Night. And when you said Soylent Green, I'm like, all right, let's do it. So it basically set in 2022, and pollution and overpopulation have made food sources scarce. So you have these corporations that are making synthetic food. So they have like Soylent Red, and I think they had Soylent Blue. So they're basically like these little, almost like crackers people eat, that are supposed to give you all your nutrients. And the Soylent Green Corporation, or whatever they're called, has been mining the ocean for plankton to make Soylent Green, which is this new type of food that's supposed to be even more nutritious for you, blah, blah, blah. And people are just living crammed in these apartment buildings. They're sleeping on the floor, on the stairwell. Water is very scarce. You get, water once a week. As far as like real food, there's a scene where they come across a really limp piece of celery, and they think it's the greatest thing that they've ever seen in their life.
I was gonna say, every time, because Sal and Thorne, Charlton Heston, they're both detectives and they live together. And every time they come across like food or soap or any kind of luxury, it almost seems like they're creaming in their pants.
Yeah, exactly. So there is a murder that a really rich executive who lives in this kind of super high-rise apartment, and you can tell there's definitely a class system. There's the rich, and then there is the poor, and there's not a lot in between. And he has like bourbon. He has a shower. This rich guy. He's got he had a small little thing of beef that his girlfriend, or not even girlfriend, so
prostitute.
Rich people have these things that are called furniture that are essentially prostitutes that come with the apartment when you rent your apartment.
That's awesome. I wish I got that when I rented an apartment.
Exactly. And that's literally what they're called, as furniture. Because
great name. I love it.
Yeah. So he gets murdered, and Charlton Heston is assigned to investigate the murder. And pretty much all he does is just ransack the guy's apartment.
Oh my God. Can we talk about that scene? That scene is fucking hilarious. He just comes in. He's such a dick. Mm-hmm. And he's just like, give me a drink. He's like, are you sure that's a good idea? He's like, you're not working for him anymore. And he literally sniffs the bourbon, and he's just like, like, it's awesome. Yeah. And
he takes like a pillowcase and just starts goes to the refrigerator, throws all the food in the pillowcase. Books, because that's another thing. I guess very few people know how to read anymore. So the fact that this guy has books, he just grabbed them. He didn't even really know what they were. And to bring home to Saul, who is Saul's designation is book. So each police detective is assigned a book who can actually read and do research for him if need be. So he brings home this food and these books to Edward G. Robinson, Saul. And through the course of the movie, all the higher ups just want to kind of sweep this under the rug. But Charlton Heston starts to think that something's fishy going on. The superiors keep on saying that, it was just a robbery. And Heston is like, well, no, I mean, they didn't take anything. You had like all this great food here and stuff like that wasn't taken. Supposedly the guy had been acting like despondent for the past couple of weeks, had gone to see a priest to confess something. So Charlton Heston does the same thing, tries to investigate the priest, but the priest ends up getting murdered. And then an assassin gets sent after Charlton Heston. And then eventually what you find out, first Saul finds out that the Soylent Green that is supposed to be made from plankton in the oceans, it turns out that the oceans are dead. There are no longer any life in the oceans, that we've messed up the planet so bad. And that instead of being sea life and plankton that these things are made out of, what they're doing is they're taking people as they die and grinding them up and turning people into Soylent Green and feeding it to the masses.
And then we get the famous scene at the end where the best piece of overacting, Soylent Green is people, tell them.
Yeah. And I think that's what everybody knows. The Soylent Green is people, but not anything leading up to that part.
You summed it up excellent. I mean, what do we actually think about the movie? I mean, I liked it. I thought it was pretty good. To me kind of reminded me of like an episode of The Twilight Zone. It was just a solid sci-fi dystopian thriller, I thought.
Kind of a slow burn type of movie. And like you said, Charlton Heston is kind of a dick.
Yes, I love him though in this movie.
All the way through. At one point, the main Joseph Cotton characters, he has been killed, and they are his furniture. The girl that lives with him is essentially just waiting for a new person to rent the apartment, and then she will become his property when that happens. But she's invited all the other pieces of furniture in this apartment complex over, and they're having a little party.
Oh, and
Charlton Heston shows up to ask more questions.
And he's just like, get in the bed.
Yeah, literally. He like brings her to the bedroom, and she just immediately starts undressing, and he's going over the facts of the case, and he just is nonchalantly undressing and then hops into bed with her.
Can you blame him though? Like a hot woman is hard to come by in this society right now.
That is true.
So I'm all for. I mean, is he kind of a dick? Yeah, but I'm all for Charlton Heston in this.
But she didn't even bat an eye.
No, she's just like, all right, whatever. Honestly, she was probably like, I'm used to like having sex with really, really, really old men, so this is probably better.
Although he was in his 50s, so I mean,
I was about to say Charlton Heston. Yeah, he's getting up there in age in this.
Which is something I want to bring up too, is that I'd never noticed it the first time around, but watching it again, I started to pick up on there's this weird kind of like gay subtext going on between
with Saul and
Charlton Heston.
I was thinking the same thing. They're always telling each other like, I love you, and like
they say I love you, and the way they're just kind of like bickering back and forth like an old married couple at the beginning of the movie. But then there's this weird scene where Charlton Heston is investigating Chuck Connors, who is the murder victim's bodyguard. It turns out that he was kind of in on it as well. But the bodyguard is living in this kind of modest apartment, but he also has a piece of furniture. So Charlton Heston goes and interrogates her, and she's eating a jar of strawberries.
Yes, and which is a luxury now.
To the point there's still kind of like strawberry juice and stuff on the spoon, and Charlton Heston steals the spoon. And brings it home to Saul, and has this weird kind of like he's feeding Edward G. Robinson this strawberry, and it's been in his pocket for who knows.
Oh, I was thinking that too. Like, ew.
Yeah, but it's one of those weird things like you see like couples when they drink champagne, how they kind of intertwine their arms and stuff like that. There's this weird. This isn't just two normal dudes living together. Like he's literally feeding them. They have this dinner of all this stuff that they stole, that Charlton Heston stole. So Edward G. Robinson, prepares the meal and is just so like kind of like looking over his shoulder with every bite, like a 1950s housewife is like, oh my gosh, I hope he likes it. I hope he likes it.
Oh, these two have totally banged. Think about it. Like I mean, who do you fuck in this society? I mean, everybody's
That's
all
true.
poor and dirty and living in the street. So they definitely fucked.
Yeah. And Charlton Heston is running around town with this like scarf tied around his neck.
Oh my God. Yeah. The costumes in this are hilarious. And yeah, he just wears that fucking white t-shirt, that dirty ass white t-shirt, like the whole fucking movie, and the scarf. Yes. And
yeah,
I gotta say, this is probably the sweatiest movie I've ever seen in my life.
That's true. Yeah.
Everybody is so sweaty, which makes sense. Cause I mean, nobody's taking showers. I mean, it makes sense.
I think they've kind of like screwed up the atmosphere with pollution and everything like that. So there's they go at one point. There's a scene where the mayor goes to, I guess, the head of the Soylent Corporation or something, and it's the only tree left in New York. So there's like this kind of like greenhouse type tent, I guess, in Central Park. It's just this really sickly looking tree. I'm like, oh boy, we're screwed if that's the only living tree in New York, and that's what it looks like. And then they have and I guess he works all the time, it seems like, is this when he gets the assignment of going to investigate the murder, he's pissed off because he also has riot duty.
Yes, that's the thing.
So I guess whenever it's time to give out food and stuff, all the police have to show up in riot gear because they know that at some point the food's going to run out. There's a riot, so they have these giant garbage trucks.
Oh, that was awesome. And if you get out of line, they're just going to scoop you up and put you in the fucking back of the truck.
Yeah. But you got to wonder, like, do the people get scooped into the truck? Are they taken to jail, or are they just like crushed, or like?
Oh, they're crushed and they're going to be made into Soylent Green. I'm guaranteeing.
That's what I figured too. Mm-hmm. But it's really just these giant garbage trucks with the giant scoops that are just scooping people up and throwing them in the back. And then an assassin tries to take out Charlton Heston and
does horrible. He kills like literally 3 people before he even hits him. He's a bad shot.
Yeah. And Charlton Heston doesn't even care. He's like, this guy just gets blown away civilian gets blown away right in front of him. And he just
that's the thing about this movie. That's the thing about this movie. It's like just like disregard for human life just because there's so many people. Like
that's true. Like, so you have Saul and Thorne in their little apartment. It's like a 1-room apartment.
Is there one bed? They share a bed.
I'm assuming they have to. And like you said, everything from the get-go, everything is like super sweaty. Edward G. Robinson has to ride a little stationary bicycle to generate electricity they have, I guess, one little light bulb.
And he tells him, don't do that. You're going to get a heart attack. It just seems like, it seems like a housewife worrying about the husband's cholesterol. You know what I mean? Like, but I did like that detail. Yeah, that was cool.
I did too. But then you go outside the apartment. He gets called to investigate this murder. And it's just like a sea of people living in the hallway and, down the stairwells. And at one point he goes to investigate a church, the priest who had heard the confession. And there is a woman who's dropped dead on the steps of the church.
And the child is like has a string attached to the mother. That was crazy. I was like, this is dark.
Yeah, it is really dark. I would say the movie itself is really bleak. They have like these when you feel like you just like, you know what, I can't do this anymore. You go to these centers. They're like
assisted
euthanasia,
suicide.
Suicide centers. And the guy that because I guess when Edward G. Robinson, he's the first one to kind of decipher what's going on with the Soylent Green, and he leaves a note for Saul or for Thorne, and he's like, I don't want to live in this world anymore. So he goes to the assisted living center, and you get like a nice little air conditioned room, and they, you get choice of music, and then they like clay pretty pictures of like, trees and
nature, deers, it's pretty cool.
It is, but
yeah, super bleak.
Super bleak.
Yeah.
I mean, and it literally just ends with this kind of like when he goes to investigate the Soylent Green plant and finds out that, you just see these people getting ground up into these little green little wafers. He goes to tell his captain, but gets ambushed by Chuck Connors and some other guards and gets pretty nasty. Like,
I don't know how he's alive at the end, honestly. Like, it seemed like he got shot through the fucking stomach. I mean, I don't know.
That was a pretty nasty wound. He's got then he has like this knockdown, drag out fist fight with Chuck Connors in the middle of this church that's been kind of turned into like a homeless shelter. You have all these people sleeping in bunk beds. So you have all these homeless people in bunk beds that are getting toppled over as these guys fight. Like, I can't even count how many people got knocked out of their beds.
Oh yeah,
during this fight scene. And then it just ends with they finally kill Chuck Connors, and his chief shows up, and he's delirious. It's like, it's people. You got to tell him Soylent Green is people. And that's just kind of how it ends.
Brock Peters could not give more of a fuck. He couldn't give less of a fuck. Like, he's just like, okay, yeah, I will tell him, sure. Uh-huh.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this is like the ravings of a madman at this point.
Yeah, Thorne, they definitely kill Thorne. Definitely.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
if the shot to the stomach didn't kill him, by the time they get him out of there and away from some people, he's dead. There's no coming back for him.
I'm trying to think what else. Also, I gotta say, to go back to I think her name is Cheryl, the prostitute.
Yeah.
They try to like make it seem like these two like each other, but I don't know. I never felt
it's
any sort of like chemistry between them.
No, the first half of the movie, he's like just a complete and utter dick to her, and then goes back and has sex with her, and then the apartment manager comes in where all these other girls are hanging out and starts beating up on him.
That was crazy. He punches this one girl in the stomach. Like, it's fucking brutal.
And Charlton Heston comes out and just kind of like gives him like a severe talking to. He didn't even like smack him around or anything like that. So, and then he's gonna leave, and she's like, well, you don't have to go right away. It's almost like she has like Stockholm syndrome. She's just used to being with somebody at all times, that she can't stand to be alone.
Well, that scene's hilarious because he's like, nah, I gotta go to work. And then she's like, I have a hot shower. And he's like, really?
Yeah.
And then it's like, I'll
make first breakfast. He tries to entice her with more sex, and he's like, no. And then breakfast, he's like, He's like, I have a hot shower. He's like, oh, a hot shower.
She tries enticing him with sex, and he's like, that's okay, I got Saul.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, but one of the funniest scenes of the movie is like when they're taking a shower together and they just both laugh like maniacally.
Yeah,
it's so weird.
Which I can understand why he does it, because he probably hasn't had a shower in 5 years or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
But she lives in this house. She takes showers all the time, so I don't understand why she's laughing, unless she's just been so beaten down by life and the fact, that she's literally considered a piece of furniture, that she just does whatever her, client does.
Well, what I want to know is when the new tenant is like kind of talking to her, and he's like, he said that you were 21, or she's basically like, oh, but you're really 24. Well, I want to know, like, what happens to these girls when they get like too old?
Soylent Green.
I guess so. Yeah, I guess they probably know. Well, they have no idea, but yeah, I guess you're right.
Or I guess is there like a hierarchy? Because they get like down, they go down a floor or two to the people who aren't as wealthy as the super rich guys. Because like Chuck Connors, I mean, he was living in an apartment not that much better than Charlton Heston's.
Yeah.
But he had a piece of furniture too that what's her Martha, the super tall black woman.
Oh yeah. Well, Charlton Heston has he has a piece of furniture.
He has Saul. And the idea is that she was going to leave her big swanky apartment and come live with him, or at least that's what she thought. I don't know if he was 100%, I guess he would have to swing it by Saul first and see if that was okay if they bring somebody else into their little apartment. But yeah, just weird. And then at the beginning, the one thing I did notice, she's playing a video game at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
It's like this weird, form of Space Invaders or something. And supposedly that is the first video game ever to be shown in a movie. It was called, it was called Space Commander or something like that. Is the kind of one of the very first ever cons. They had Pong, and then they had this, and this is the first time a video game ever appeared in a movie.
That's surprising. I guess. Wow, are video games that old? 73, I guess.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm old, so we had Pong at my house.
I bet at the time that was probably the coolest thing. It's not going to get better than this.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
And then the PlayStation, whoa, it's not going to get better than this. And now we have the PS5, and it's whoa. I'm still shocked. I don't know. I feel like graphics can't get any better, and then they do.
I'm always I'm always a system or two behind. I just got a PS4 I think 2 years ago.
I got mine about 5 years ago. Honestly, I'm going to keep it. There's no good games on PS5 right now, and it just doesn't look that different to me.
Right.
So,
and I hardly have any free time anyway. So, what's the point of spending? Yeah, I mean, I have a kid. I guess he would be excited about having a PS5, but at the end of the day, if I can't play it, nobody can play it.
There you go. I have a couple funny reviews. The reviews for this movie are hilarious. So I'm going to tell you what Roger Ebert and Gene Siskel thought. Okay. So Roger Ebert actually liked the movie. He gave it 3 out of 4. A quote, a good, solid science fiction movie and a little more. I totally agree. Now, Gene Siskel is hilarious. He gave this 1.5 stars out of 4 and called it a silly detective yarn full of juvenile Hollywood images. Wait till you see the giant snow shovel scoop the police used to round up rowdies. You may never stop laughing.
That part, I kind of have to agree with him. That part, I did kind of laugh when you see these scoops full of people getting thrown into the back of the truck, and then the assassin that's going after Charlton Heston gets squashed.
Oh, that part was weird. It was was that when it was going down on him? It felt like it was animated.
Yeah, it looks like it was animation. Yeah.
Do you think this movie's kind of silly, or I don't know? Do you think it rides that line, or I don't know?
I don't think it was meant to be silly. I think it's just everything is so over the top that, especially by today's standards, I thought it looked great, and then it was obviously a big movie because you had tons of extras. It wasn't it was bigger than your typical B movie budget.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, you just got a ton of extras. Like I said, not a lot of action though. For a Charlton Heston film. Normally, he was the action hero of the 70s, but yeah, that kind of chase scene through the sea of people where these civilians are getting blown away left and right by the assassin, and then the fight scene at the end. I think that's about it.
Yeah, I know. I think for me, I wouldn't call this movie satirical at all, but I don't know. It's almost kind of, I guess it is kind of comical because it's there's so many people in the world. They say, what was it, 40 million just in New York City alone?
Yeah.
And it's there's that many people where it's just like, okay, well, just total disregard for human life because okay, well, there's so many people. We got to get rid of some of these people. So why not just bring in a truckload of like a shuttle, just fucking scoop some of them up? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I guess it is a little silly.
Yeah, I guess
it's kind of a funny image, I guess.
It is I mean, just in the way it ended, it's very similar to Planet of the Apes. You know, when at the very end of the movie where he's screaming at the Statue of Liberty, you know.
So let me ask you this: which is a better piece of overacting, the end of Planet of the Apes or the end of this movie?
I gotta say,
he goes pretty hard in Planet of the Apes.
He does. This one,
damn you all to hell.
I'm gonna have to say this one though, because at least with this one, or with Planet of the Apes, you know, he's just screaming at the apes where they're like, you know, fuck you, who cares? But in this one, at least, you know, he's screaming to the people like, you know, they're killing us and, you know, turning us into food. So the people who should care don't. They're like, whatever.
Yeah, I guess
everybody
that does make it funnier.
Yeah. I live in a stairwell with my entire family. I don't care what I eat as long as I'm eating.
That's a good point. Like, I don't know, who cares?
Mm-hmm.
Did you, if you liked it, who cares if it's people?
Yeah. And at least they do make it so, at least for right now, who knows, you know, 10, 15 years in the future, what it's going to be. For right now, they are taking people who have died from natural causes or from, you know, these suicide centers and turning them into people. It's not like they're just rounding people up, you know, hey, let's just get everybody from this one apartment complex and turn them into food.
There actually is an interesting scene. I don't know if I think it's the prostitute Cheryl. I think she brings up the fact like, oh, they used to do like ceremonies or whatever. She doesn't say it's a funeral, but I thought that was a nice detail. It's like a funeral is just like, that is just such a relic of the past.
Unheard of.
Yeah.
That's the other thing with Saul. Like every line that Saul has is either started with or ends with, I remember when blah, 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 when he like, you could actually, you know, pick a peach off of a tree.
Yeah.
Or, you know, I guess he's old enough that he still remembers the before time.
Yeah. I have another hilarious review. This is from the New Yorker.
Okay.
This pompously prophetic thing of a film hasn't a brain in its beanbag. Where is democracy? Where is the popular vote? Where is women's lib? Where are the uprising poor who had to have suspected what was happening in a moment? So I guess this lady, her name's Penelope Gillette. I guess she was mad that it didn't touch upon those themes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. I guess her thing is she's surprised that it came to this point. Like,
yeah, I guess so. I guess she's just questioning like how it got so bad.
Yeah, I guess. Well, yeah, especially in the early 70s when like the women's lib movement was becoming really, really huge. I guess what her argument is that.
Yeah, why didn't they explain that?
Yeah, Gloria Steinem would never have allowed people to, you know, women to become a piece of furniture
or food.
Yeah, exactly.
Honestly, sometimes with these science fiction movies, it's like, shut the fuck up. Like, you just have to take it at face value.
You really do. I mean, and again, it was 2022, so that is this came out in 73?
49 years ago.
Yeah, so 29 years ago, as opposed to what was it? We just did Demolition Man, which came out in 93, but I think it was set in 1998. So it was like,
yeah, that's crazy. It's like, why not just set it later? Why would you do that?
Yeah, for some reason, yeah, they didn't. I don't think they said it that far in the future, or maybe I'm getting the dates mixed up wrong. But for some reason, Demolition Man, it didn't seem like the future was all that far off in that movie. But who knows? Like I say, is this a great movie? No. I'm not even sure if is it on the AFI top 100 sci-fi movies or anything like that?
No, but I think for quotes, I want to say in my research, I think this was nominated. Soylent Green is people.
Yeah. And see, that's what everybody knows. They may not know the movie, but they have at least heard this quote. But like I said, it's not going to, it's a dumb movie, but it's really entertaining.
I have some trivia. You might have known this, but this was Edward G. Robinson's last movie. And this this is creepy that his death scene was the last thing he ever filmed. And 12 days later, he died.
Yeah.
He had bladder cancer or something awful.
Mm-hmm.
But that is creepy. That's the last thing you ever shot as an actor.
Is a death scene for a movie is your last ever.
And apparently nobody knew he was sick. And just, I don't know. It's just really crazy.
I was it Dick Van Patten? The dad from Eight Is Enough is the assisted suicide attendant.
Oh.
And it was one of his first roles. And he said he kept on messing up and calling whatever Saul's last name is, Roth. Instead of calling him Mr. Roth, he kept on calling him Mr. Robinson.
Yeah, I heard. I saw that in the research too. So this was a book. I didn't know if you knew that.
I didn't know it was a book.
The book was something. Hold on, let me get the name of the book. But basically, they changed the title because they thought it was going to be too similar to a sitcom called Make Room for Daddy. I don't even know what that was. Do you know what that was?
Make Room is the name of the book. And then Make Room for Daddy, I think, was that? That was a sitcom. I don't know if I've ever...
Hold on. It was the Danny Thomas show.
Okay, Danny, that's what I was going to say. Danny Thomas.
But I guess at one point the show was called Make Room for Daddy, which is a weird name. Glad they changed it. Make Room for Daddy.
When was Make Room for Daddy? Okay, so from 53 to 64.
Okay. Yeah, well, 9 years had passed, so I think we would have been good. I don't know. Yeah. I like Soylent Green better as a title.
I think so too. I mean, it's still if one of those titles though, if you're looking, you're with your girlfriend and you're looking through the paper and hey, let's go see Soylent Green, and she'll be like, the hell is Soylent Green? You know what?
But if it was Make Room for Daddy, she'd be like, yeah, let's go.
Yeah, let's do it.
I quickly read the synopsis of the book. Apparently the Soylent Green cannibal thing is not present in the novel. I think the novel is more of a slice of life kind of deal. It's not very plot heavy. There's no conspiracy or anything. It does have a lot of the same characters. It's got the Charlton Heston character, the Saul character, the prostitute. I want to say the prostitute does actually move in with him at some point, and she's like, forget this, and starts fucking other wealthy men. But yeah, I think it was a good idea to do the conspiracy angle. I don't know.
Yeah, I think so too. Because if you think about it, you as the audience really have no idea what's going on until the last 10 or 15 minutes of the movie. Even Charlton Heston really had, he knows something fishy is going on, but doesn't know what. It's literally Saul is the one who finds out that the oceans are dead and that all these claims that, Soylent Green, and I'm not even sure if Saul knows that Soylent Green is made from people He just knows.
Yeah, I had a question about that because he dies and then they take his body away, and then Charlton Heston just decides to follow where his body went. Why would he do that? I don't know. I'm sure Saul has a little. Yeah.
Was he following the body, or was he just happened to be headed to the Soylent processing plant?
I don't know. I think he wanted to know where Saul's body is. Maybe because he loved him and they were lovers. Maybe he wanted one last look at his body.
Or he's going to take him home and stuff him and, keep him in the corner.
That would have been awesome. That would have been a better twist.
Yeah. But again, as an audience member, even in Charlton Heston, you have no idea that Soylent Green is people until like the last 10, 15 minutes of the movie. He just knows that this guy got killed and people are trying to cover it up, and it has something to do with the Soylent Green Corporation. The reason why the Soylent Green executive and the priest and even Saul kind of freak out is, I think, because when they realized that the oceans, which everybody thought had at least the last kind of semblance of any sort of life in it, were now dead, means that there is no more hope for humanity.
Another creepy thing about this movie is, in part of the trivia, plankton has declined more than 40% since 1950.
Really?
Yeah. So, yeah. So this movie is kind of prevalent because we're kind of having supply issues right now. Not nearly as bad as this movie, but like there are some things in this movie that are kind of like, ooh, like
right. And now, isn't there a company called Soylent?
And that was my last bit of trivia. Yeah. In 2013, the company Solylent Nutrition began producing a line of meal replacement products under the Soylent brand. And then a little, as of January 2002, Soylent doesn't contain people.
Wait, did they actually tout that on there?
That's what it said in the trivia. I think that was a joke, but yeah. Why would you name your company Soylent?
I mean, unless you're doing it as a joke. There was a guy that I used to work with who did it. I mean, he actually lost a lot of weight on it as well.
Meal replacement stuff?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
But yeah, it was like just like a powder that he like puts into a drink or something like that. Like, very weird. But yeah, I just so I'm looking at the Soylent Green Wikipedia page, and it says that it is so it's named after a food from the novel.
Okay.
So I guess Soylent was what they were eating in the novel.
Maybe that's what it was. Okay. Maybe I misquoted. Yeah.
But I think you're right. I think it was the movie that just added the cannibalism aspect.
Which is a great idea.
True, exactly. A great idea. But my thing is that, trying to tell persons like, oh, no, we didn't name ours after Soylent Green, the movie where people are eating people. We named it after the book that inspired it.
Right? No. It's the book, idiot.
Yeah.
Make room. Come on. Yeah. I want to know, like, well, okay, let's say the police chief like listened to him. Like, was he just gonna like take him down to the factory? Did they get a warrant? I don't know. Like, what would that conversation have been like? Hey, sorry, this is embarrassing, but Thorne says that you guys are making cannibal products. Can we just check it out for a little bit? We'll be out of your hair.
I guess it's one of those things is, what do you do? Like, you could come down there with all your cops and shut the thing down, but then what's going to happen?
People are going to starve. So my question to you is, would you care if you knew you were eating people? Would you keep eating people, or would you just? What would you do? I mean, what's the alternative? You die?
Yeah, you know what? I eat hot dogs, and God knows what's in a freaking hot dog, especially the ones at the theater. So,
oh God,
yeah,
right?
I'd probably be fine with it.
I think I am too. I don't know if it's good. If it tastes good, who cares?
And I don't even know if it's that, because I mean, all it is a freaking cracker. It's not like you're gnawing into like somebody's leg or something like that.
What I want to know is when, because they show like the bodies and they're wrapped up in like a white little blanket, but those get mixed in too. The blanket gets mixed in as well. So you're not only eating people, you're eating blanket as well.
Yeah. See, I'm more upset about eating blanket than I am with people.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Animals eat other animals, so I don't know. I mean,
you know. The last time I ate a blanket, I couldn't shit for a week. So,
I got some categories. In your opinion, what is the best scene of the movie?
Best scene of the movie. I gotta say, it's Saul and Charlton Heston eating dinner together, which supposedly was a completely improvised scene.
Yeah, I read that as well. Yeah.
But it goes on for a long period of time with no dialogue, just them eating and laughing and looking lovingly into each other's eyes.
Charlton Heston has like the most hilarious over the top laugh of any actor.
He really does.
I feel like there's actually quite a few scenes I like. I do really, really like the chase at the end, but I gotta be honest. I think my favorite scene of the movie is when Charlton Heston's like walking around the apartment being a dick and just stealing shit. Like I think that's my favorite scene of the movie.
Or another great one is the second one when he comes back and the prostitutes or the concubines are having their little party and he just comes sauntering in.
Get on the bed.
One girl back. But then when like the little weaselly apartment manager comes in and starts smacking around the girls, he really doesn't do anything. He like raises his voice, but you would think any other action hero would have beat the crap out of the dude.
That guy was a weasel. Very good weasel.
Yeah. But he didn't care. He was like, you know, hey, you're messing with my vibe here. Cool.
Oh, we forgot to mention the black Chuck Connors lady. She's like, oh, I forgot to offer you something. And he's like, if I wasn't so busy, I would have said yes or whatever.
Which they kind of make it when the new tenant comes and is talking to Cheryl. He says, like, you know, sometimes it'll be just me. Sometimes I'll have some friends over. Sometimes we want to be left alone. Sometimes we won't. So I guess it's one of those things that if you are a furniture, you're expected to have sex with whoever is brought into the house.
There's definitely some group sex going on.
Yeah,
definitely.
But I mean, it's like, what are your duties? Like, it's like, can I offer you, you know, a drink? Can I offer you myself?
Offer you a blowjob?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think they clean and cook and fuck.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's what they do. Now, is there like a scene that you don't like? What do you think the worst scene is of the movie? I don't know. I don't think there's a scene I hate in this movie.
I think it's so clearly animation when the assassin guy gets.
That's pretty rough.
Splattered.
Yeah. Why? How hard would it have been to just like go under and shoot a shovel thing going down?
Yeah. It's pretty bloody too, because I mean, there's like a giant pool of blood. You know, and the next shot, when you see it flat on the ground, there's a lot of blood for the 70s in that. And I like the blood in 70s movies were that bright red. It doesn't look like real blood.
Okay, speaking of Charlton Heston and blood, have you seen the movie Earthquake?
Yes.
Okay, do you remember that scene where it's obviously the earthquake's going on, and then the I guess the cables to the elevator snapped.
Yeah.
And then it's just like animated blood is everywhere. It's so fucking weird. I remember I had that movie on VHS and I remember seeing that as a kid. I'm like, what the fuck did I just watch?
Yeah,
That was rough.
That one was rough. And supposedly I'm not sure if they added that for the TV version.
I think that was in the actual movie because I had it on VHS.
Because that was one of those movies where they had to go and film a bunch of extra scenes for the when they aired it on TV.
Right, they used to do that a lot back in the day.
Because I remember watching it. So there's I would, depending on which version of the movie you have on VHS, there is a guy and a girl in a airplane, a passenger jet that is flying into LA, and their whole big subplot is like the runways are all destroyed, so they don't know where they're going to land before the plane runs out of fuel. And all that was added specifically for the TV version.
Interesting.
And again, it sticks out like a sore thumb. You have like all this murder and mayhem going on down on the ground, and then you have these people in a passenger jet is like, we're sorry, folks, we're going to be up here for a little while longer. Like,
that'd be so easy to get out of. I don't know. Well, maybe not. I feel like, I don't know, like, how little fuel do you have? You could just go to a different city.
Yeah, go to San Diego, go to Las Vegas. Yeah, I'm not quite sure what the plot contrivance was that kept them circling around the airport, but
I love old disaster movies.
Oh, I do too.
They're so bad.
Towering Inferno. Have you seen that?
Yes, I've seen that. That was one I had on VHS. The Poseidon Adventure is great, and that is on HBO Max. I watched that. And that's when Gene Hackman had hair.
Yes. But then there's another one, the sequel to Poseidon Adventure.
Oh, Beyond the Poseidon Adventure?
Yeah.
With Michael Caine? I hear that's awful. I have not seen it.
Was it Michael Caine in that one?
Yeah, he's in that. Sally Fields is in it. Telly Savalas is in it.
Yeah, so Telly Savalas. Yeah. Yeah. So it was Michael Caine. Yeah, that was on HBO Max not that long ago. That actually has a pretty good cast. You have Peter Boyle, the dad from Everybody Loves Raymond.
Okay.
Slim Pickens. But that one is like a heist movie set in the
ship. Yeah, they're supposed to. They're going after gold or something.
Yeah, they're trying to retrieve something. So you have like two different retrieval teams trying to, and then they come across because it takes place supposedly right after the original Poseidon Adventure.
Yeah. God, yeah, those movies in the 70s were great. And then you're right. They did have a lot of dumb subplots and like too many characters. But it was great. It was cheesy and wonderful.
I know we're supposed to be talking about
Soylent Green,
but my favorite thing about Earthquake, we could do Earthquake one time.
We will.
Is Walter Matthau is in the movie. From like The Odd Couple and The Bad News Bears. And there's a scene in a bar where he's this drunk sitting at the end of the bar, and the earthquake is happening, and you can't see this because it's an audio podcast, but he's trying to drink while the earthquake is going on. So Walter Matthau was pretty big for the 1970s. I don't even think he has any lines. He's literally just sitting at the end of the bar.
Just a cameo?
Yeah, trying to drink and spilling all over himself, and then the ceiling just collapses on him and kills him.
Wow. God, it's been so long since I've seen Earthquake. Ooh, but I just Also, another thing, and then we'll move on because I have a couple more categories. But one trope I love about disaster movies is there's always a fucking dog. And the dog the dog always lives like at the last second. My favorite disaster movie ever is Dante's Peak. And there's a river of lava, and then it's our dog. And then literally jumps in the truck right as like the river of lava goes down the mountain. It's
my
awesome.
Favorite dog scene is Independence Day.
Yes,
in the tunnel, And this huge wall of flame is going down the tunnel, and the dog jumps in right at the last second to this access tunnel. They're able to shut the door. And I saw Independence Day at the theater.
Me too. My dad took me. I was 6 years old. It was awesome.
The dog jumps in right at the last second, and they shut the door, and the entire audience cheers. And I'm like, wait a minute. There are like 500 people in that tunnel who just got incinerated.
Thank God the dog lived, though.
Yeah, and you're cheering for a goddamn dog?
Yeah, and the dog reasonably probably, I don't know, was probably 7 years old, so he's already middle-aged and probably only has 7 years left to live.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and they do show, like, you know, parents running with their little kids down the tunnel and stuff like that, and you're gonna cheer about a freaking dog.
I would love to do Independence Day one day. I have a lot to say about that movie. Oof. I like it, but good God, there's some dumb shit in that movie.
That's one of those movies where when you're watching it in a big theater, you get all wrapped up in the movie and like, oh, this is so awesome. And then you leave the theater and your brain turns back on and you're like, wait a minute.
Just, can we talk about this? And I'll move on after this, but like, just anybody can show up and hop on to Area 51.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, like, that is my biggest problem with that movie. It's like, there's like all these tractor trailers or these trailers, like mobile homes is coming on Area 51. Like, what are we doing here? But to go back to the actual movie we're talking about now.
Okay, yes.
Well, you know, I think my next question was best quote. It's easy. Yeah. Soylent Green is people.
That's the quote will outlive the movie as far as like cultural awareness. Again, I don't think anybody knows the movie, but they know the quote.
If I had a follow-up quote, a second place, it would probably be like I'll just hop in the bed or whatever he says to her.
I don't even think he says anything. I think she gets into bed first. She just
no, he says something. It's like take your clothes off, get in bed. Like he says it so casually.
Okay.
Which was probably cool at the time. Now,
right.
Probably not so much.
Oh yeah, that whole plot point about women being furniture is super cringy.
Yeah. The fact that they call them furniture is just so fucking grating.
And she even says something because
he's like, don't call me that. And he's like, okay. And he just leaves.
Yeah. But he has to think about it for a second. It's like, all right, yeah, I guess I won't call you furniture.
Best unintentional comedic moment. Oh man, so much.
Everything with Saul and Charlton Heston is
yes,
hilarious.
Just the fact, Charlton Heston's overacting. Which brings us to best performance, worst performance. Who's the best performance in this movie?
I gotta say Brock Peters is probably the best performance.
He's pretty good.
Yeah. I like Brock Peters. Who else? Chuck Connors was okay, but I mean he didn't
say a whole lot. He was fine in the movie.
Yeah.
Saul I thought was pretty good.
Yeah, I would say Saul. I would say he played it over the top of just enough where, I mean, Charlton Heston, his over the top acting is through the roof. Like, you know,
mainly just the ending.
The ending, I don't know.
Well, when he's laughing maniacally in the shower, that's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Okay, so best.
I gotta say best acting is probably gonna have to be Saul.
Okay, now worst performance. Now we could go one of two ways. We could go Charlton Heston, which I think would be the easy answer. But also too, I don't know, the furniture, the prostitute. What's her name? Cheryl. I don't know, kind of a thankless role. Doesn't really show a whole lot of emotion. It's kind of just there. I don't know.
Yeah, she really, because it is this weird kind of jump from they have sex and then take a shower together, and now she wants to just madly in love with them and wants to move in with them. It's just she went from like 0 to 100 like that.
Yeah,
because when she first meets him, she's kind of disgusted by him.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, probably not a whole lot on paper.
Yeah.
Probably wasn't given a lot of notes by the director, but yeah, it just doesn't really make an impression other than just being she's insanely attractive, I will say.
Oh yeah.
But I'm gonna go with her. I don't know. Who would you go with?
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to pick Charlton Heston, but I mean, that was just kind of like his style of acting, especially in these like 70s.
He won an Academy Award. I can't believe it.
Did he? What did he win an Academy Award?
He won it for Ben-Hur, which I've never seen Ben-Hur. Have you seen it?
Neither have I. Yeah.
It's on HBO Max. I want to watch it, but good God, it's like 4 hours long. I mean, I'd have to set out a whole afternoon for that movie. I mean,
yeah.
I don't know, but that's the one he wanted it for.
He was pretty good. I liked the movie Touch of Evil, which is
that's the Orson Welles. He directed that, right? Orson Welles.
Orson Welles directed it, and
isn't Janet Leigh in that movie? Is Janet Leigh in that movie? Or Vera Miles? One of the girls from Psycho is in that movie.
I thought it was Vera Miles.
I think,
but I could be mistaken. But Charlton Heston plays a Mexican in that movie. So I've
seen the picture of him in that mustache.
Yeah, that's Janet Leigh.
Does he do a Mexican accent?
No, he doesn't do an accent.
Okay, all right.
I believe.
Damn it!
It's been a long time since I've seen it.
That'd be so fucking funny if he did put an accent.
Yeah, he plays Ramon Miguel Vargas.
What the fuck? That's back then. That's the shit. They did that.
Yeah,
people are in an uproar about that stuff now, but good God, I mean, yeah, you had all sorts of people. White people played every role, pretty much. All right. Anything else to add? I mean, about the movie?
No, again, I think it's one of those. It's just a fun kind of dumb movie that I think everybody knows something about Soylent Green, or at least the Soylent Greenest people, even though they don't know what that means or where it even comes from.
If you were to rate it out of 5, what would your rating be?
I would probably give this like a 3.5.
I think I would too. Yeah, I thought this was like a solid movie. A little goofy.
Yeah, a little cheesy, but I thought I think it was, again, just the set dressing alone. You could really feel the atmosphere and everything that they're living in. Like I said, everybody is just covered in sweat, and they did a really good job of kind of immersing you into this world where humanity currently exists.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up. I was going to say also, yeah, like just the detail of the world. They did a really good job with, just like the extras. Also, I think they put like a green filter to make it look like green smog or something.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. There was just a haze throughout the entire thing.
Yeah, that was cool. Also, did you notice like how they get water is they have like a little like big water jug where you press down on the thing. That's where they use I thought that was a neat detail. Like that's where they get their water, just like a water cooler, Yeah,
it was like a big like igloo, those
those big igloo ones. Yeah. I would 3.5 out for me. I mean, I think if you have HBO Max, it's worth your time. And solid film.
It was about an hour and a half.
Yeah, honestly, it's only an hour and a half. To me, like I said at the beginning, I thought this was kind of like a good episode of The Twilight Zone.
No, I agree. It takes a little to kind of ramp up, but I think that they spend like the first part of the movie kind of really immersing you in the world before they kind of get to any of the meat of the story.
And Charlton Heston, look, love him or hate him, always entertaining.
Yeah.
Was he like the Nicolas Cage of his time? Maybe not. I don't know. What I mean by that is like, obviously, it's turned in some good performances, but really overacts.
Yeah. I think
Who would you compare him to nowadays?
I would say, suppose he scored big with his like early career. Obviously like Ben-Hur and was it the Ten Commandments?
Ten Commandments, yeah.
He was in, and then he went into this like weird kind of sci-fi disaster movie era in like the 70s and 80s. Like, he was in Airport
75. Yeah.
Obviously Earthquake. And then you had for the sci-fi, you had Planet of the Apes, Omega Man, this. I would say, he had a pretty decent career. Then he became like super right-wing, gun nut towards the end there. But
he did.
He was Captain NRA. Yeah.
Well, this was fun. Thanks for coming on again. Now we have a lot of movies.
Hey, not a problem.
I want to have you on again. Now, you mentioned last time we were thinking about doing that. What is that Roger Moore movie we were talking about with the cats?
Folks.
What's it called? Folks? What is it called?
Folks. I think it's FFOLKES.
Okay.
Or I think it has two names. It has that, and then it's also known as North Sea Hijack.
That's what. Okay, that's the one you said. North Sea Hijack. So I definitely want to do that. We were talking out back about the animated Lord of the Rings movie.
Oh, I would love to do that one.
So maybe that'll be the next one we do, but I don't know. There's a lot of episodes we could do.
That one will be timely because isn't the new
when does that come out? Do you know when that comes out? Because we could do it when we could do it when it comes out. Which, are you excited about that at all?
Not really.
I don't give a fuck, honestly. I like, but then again, I'll say this. When they announced that Watchmen TV series, I was like, nope. But then it ended up being really good.
No, I agree. I was a huge fan of that.
There's been some
same thing with Peacemaker. I liked before Suicide Squad even came out, they said they were doing a Peacemaker TV series. I'm like, ugh, I could care less.
Yeah, because I liked him, but I didn't like him that much where I wanted to see a whole TV series of him.
Yeah. Have you seen the Peacemaker series?
I haven't. I gotta be honest with you. I have like really fallen off with the TV shows. There's like 3 Marvel shows I need to catch up on. I need to catch up on Peacemaker. It's too much. I don't know. I feel like I haven't seen the Book of Boba Fett. I've been slacking.
Right. I've been slacking in the movie department lately. I've been doing a lot of TV. Not a lot of good TV, but just a lot of TV. Which is the other night when you called me, I literally just sat down and like, I am going to watch a movie because I haven't watched one in a hot second.
What is the series name? Like War of the Ring or something? What is it called?
That's what, let me pull up my Amazon Prime.
Lord of the Rings show series. Oh, the Rings of Power.
Yeah. Does it have a release date for it?
September 2nd, 2022. So
okay, so we have time.
Yes. So we will do something again, maybe in between, but we will definitely be back for that. We'll talk about the animated was it Ralph Bakshi?
Yeah.
So that'll be fun.
And then I'll hit you up for the Nerds of Comedy to do. I want to get 2 or 3 people and do one of those watch-alongs for a Monkeys episode.
Oh, I'm totally down. I've actually always wanted to see the Monkeys. I've never even seen it.
Yeah, so don't watch anything beforehand.
I think I can manage to not watch the Monkeys.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this has been fun. I never know how to end these, so I'll just say thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Cool. Bye.